Good morning. It's 3 past 6 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Down yonder, Miss Erin has local news. She's getting ready now.
Crime numbers are a little better in Shreveport. Will unravel another ITEP break for a local company. Big fight is on. And there were some locals on that southwest plain.
We got a lot of kind words yesterday, compliments regarding our ability to unravel the mysteries of the Louisiana state budget.
Oh, boy.
Evidently, we know a lot more than we think.
Do we?
Yeah, we will review some of that today.
Also, have you heard the flight recording?
No, we'll talk about that.
Oh,
man. No. That's not my nature to listen to that.
Oh, it's incredible.
Plus Fletcher and sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour right here on KEEL.
Of information. KEEL News now.
What do the crime numbers in Shreveport look like compared to this time last year? Matt Parker takes a look.
According to stats released by the Shreveport Police Department, crime in the city is down 16% compared to the first 3 months of last year. The numbers show a 20% decline in violent crimes and a 15% drop in property crimes. Police Chief Alan Crump says one of the biggest factors in the decrease is the approval of overtime funds by the mayor and city council. He says the funds allowed the department to spend more time on the streets and to run several special operations. From 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Another company wants a tax exemption. Calumet Refinery asking the Caddo Commission for an ITEP tax break. The company says the $450,000 break over 5 years would allow them to create 83 or more jobs. While the commission is considering the break, several groups are speaking out against the request. Members of Interfaith and other groups are urging the commission to deny the offer and say the money could be used to help Shreveport's struggling juvenile detention center. The commission expected to vote on the matter later today. Newlyweds recovering after a frightening airplane ride. Tyler and Alexis Albin were on their way back home from their honeymoon when the unthinkable happened. The engine on their Southwest flight blew up, turning their dream into a nightmare. The couple says the woman who was partially sucked through a window that was ripped open sat just 2 rows behind them. Tyler, a student at LSU Health, jumped into action to try to save her life. Unfortunately, her injuries were too great. The couple's back in Shreveport attempting to recover from the frightening near-death experience. 6 people recovering after a rollover crash on West 70th. SPD says a car drifted into the path of an SUV. When the SUV swerved, the vehicle flipped over. Police say 4 children and 2 adults were in the SUV at the time. All of them suffered some sort of injury, though all are expected to recover. Leon Williams, Michael Kenzie, and Darius Jenkins have been arrested by Shreveport police for allegedly stealing a pistol and an AK-47 from a local pawn shop. According to police, the suspect worked together to distract the store clerk and make off with the firearms. A 4th suspect is still at large. The full House will consider a budget today that funds TOPS but includes deep cuts in health care and higher ed. The budget's come under fire from leading Democrats, including Governor Edwards, who says the cuts are a massive blow to crucial services.
Just from this year to next, there will be a reduction of $571 million state general fund. But when you put the matching dollars from the federal government, the cut is really $1.96 billion.
House Republican leaders are trying to rally enough votes to pass the budget. They need 53 votes to get the $27 billion operating budget proposal over to the Senate. The State Education Board has approved a plan to include opioid abuse prevention education in our schools. Cindy Dunn says the education will be folded into existing substance abuse programs that are already in place.
School systems are required by state to include in their curriculum programs about substance abuse prevention. These include information designed to reduce the likelihood that students injure themselves.
Educators can bring a unique set of skills to the fight against opioid addiction. That's the word from education leaders. President Trump says although he's preparing to meet with Kim Jong-un in coming weeks, he could still pull out of the meetings if he feels it's not going to be fruitful. Police have arrested a motorist who stripped naked and danced in the street following a multi-vehicle crash west of Detroit. Police say the man plowed his pickup into other vehicles in Westland, got out of the truck, took off all his clothes, then started dancing around. They say he is expected to be okay, though he was hospitalized. Those mourning the end of Scandal as a TV series might want to have some tissues on hand, maybe a glass of red wine tonight. The show ends its 7th and final season. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Thursday already. Traffic's here. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-49 South's got it clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly, low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 12 past 6 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. That KEEL app is always a free download from Office Furniture Source. No, it's just not my nature to listen to these things.
Wait till you hear this, though. This is incredible.
I'm just not that. I don't have that squirm factor.
You gotta know the name Tammy Jo Schultz.
That's the pilot on the Southwest Airlines.
Mm-hmm. This woman, she was a fighter pilot, one of the first female fighter pilots in the Navy, and now she apparently flies for Southwest.
No, don't get me wrong. Look, I
could not do anything else when this audio was playing. Yeah. I was frozen in place.
Right.
And wait till you hear it if you haven't heard it yet. OMG.
I mean, I basically know what's in it. It's her landing a plane with that's all messed up.
That an engine is blown off and smashed
into her.
No,
I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But real crisis videos or audio is just not my nature to go.
It's not what you think it's going to be.
Listen to those. I would imagine it's her being very calm.
Exactly.
But people, I know what's going on in the back. And I just
Right.
that's real to me. It's not a movie. It's not
Who can be like that though?
people who are trained to do that.
It's unbelievable.
Probably not to take away from what she did. Probably most of those people that are up there flying.
I pray that because I fly a lot.
Well, 2 for 2, Sully and this lady.
Yeah. This is just incredible. This woman is just, when you hear the voice,
When-
and I thought about her and I thought, that's kind of, I don't do blood. I've never been that kind of person. It freaks me out. But there's something in a mom that when it's your kid, it's like God takes over you. God takes over and you're able to deal. You're able to stay calm. You're able to deal with the situation.
I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong, but I'm saying what you're saying is wrong.
No.
You're looking at this as though in this moment of crisis, God reached down on this little woman and gave her the power to overcome. No, she has years of do you realize?
I understand the training.
Do you realize?
But to me, to listen to it, I think, wow. It just feels like divine intervention. It feels like God was on her shoulder as she was talking to the air traffic controller.
And perhaps that is the case.
And you hear the panic in the air traffic controller's voice, but you hear none of that from her.
Also remember, we'll play it in just a second.
OMG.
Also remember, and I mean this, imagine after you've flown fighter jets, after you've trained yourself to do things at 1,500 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine when you're flying a bus, how slow the world seems to you.
Oh, yeah. It's probably just creeping along. But you hear the reports of what was happening in the plane behind her. As the plane drops from 32,000 feet to 10,000, people are freaking out in the back. They're going crazy.
Not dropped. She took it down to repressurize the cabin.
Right.
Okay. How long is this?
It's like 3 minutes, something like that.
Well, we've got 3 minutes.
Incredible.
You introduce, you take it away.
This is the Southwest Airlines pilot, Tammy Jo Schultz, communicating with the tower that she had to bring the plane in, and she's talking about what had happened, and they're kind of guiding her in. There's some pauses in it, just, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Delta 1380, just so I can understand, you said that you are still single engine, and what else?
Okay, Southwest 1380, we're single engine, that's it.
Be at least a 25-mile final. Longer than that, I'll have to...
3545, good day.
So 1380, you're on approach frequency 128.4. You're where you should be. Maintain 4,000. And do you need any further assistance from me? What type of final do you want? I heard short or long.
Yeah, we're going to need a long final.
Okay, I'm going to let you drive until you tell me you want to turn base, okay? So that'll be at least a 25-mile final. Longer than that, I'll have to do some coordination, but that'll be fine. We'll get that done for you. You let me know when you want to come in.
Okay, 20 is good. And we may need shorter here in a moment. Tell me the runway we're setting up for.
We're going to set up for
Say again.
Southwest 1380. You'll be landing 27 left today. And you just let me know when you need to turn base. Right now, I only have one person in front of you, which is a Southwest, but I'm sure he'll pull off if you need to go right in. Southwest 1380. 1380, got a 1458 on frequency. I just cleared him for the approach. Southwest 1380. I understand your emergency. Let me know when you want to go in.
Yeah, we have a part of the aircraft missing, so we're going to need to slow down a bit.
Southwest 1380, speed is your discretion. Maintain at any altitude above 3,000 feet, and you let me know when you want to turn base.
All right. Down to 3,000. 210 on the speed.
Absolutely. You just let me know anything you need.
Southwest 1380, like to start turning it down. And
Southwest 1380, just start turning southbound there. There's a Southwest 737 on a 4-mile final. Will be turning southbound. Start looking for the airport. It's off to your right and slightly behind you there. And altitude is your discretion. Use caution for the downtown area. Advise you maintain at above 2,200 for the MPA.
Okay, could you have the medical meet us there on the runway as well? We've got injured passengers.
injured passengers, okay? And is your airplane physically on fire?
No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
I'm sorry, you said there was a hole and somebody went out? Southwest 1380, it doesn't matter. We'll work it out there. So the airport's just off to your right. Report it in sight, please.
In sight. Southwest 1380, airport's in sight.
Southwest 1380, you're cleared. Visual approach 27 right. Contact the tower on 118.5. Southwest 13, I'm sorry, cleared. Visual approach 27 left. 27 left and towers on 18.5.
We're going on 27 left. Switching tower. Good day.
Good day.
Southwest 1380, right turn when you're able. You want to stop wherever you need to is fine.
What did
Thank
you
you. We're going to stop right here by the fire truck. Thanks, guys, for the help.
Thanks, guys, for the help. We'll stop right here by the fire truck. Unbelievable.
So at that point, she's down.
She's down. She landed. She has saved the lives of 140 people.
Yep.
Just simply, almost 150 people.
But remember, the world she's trained for happens at 2,500 miles an hour.
I am so proud of those people. I'm so proud of the training they get. I'm so thrilled when we get to hear a moment like that and to hear into that training, because you can tell this is what she was born to do.
19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Born to do traffic. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-49 South's got it clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly, low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Parky.
The Pelicans are rolling back into New Orleans, up 2-0 in their first-round playoff series against the Portland Trail Blazers. Pelicans Senior VP of Sales Mike Stanfield says the New Orleans Stars are putting on a clinic defensively, and the Trail Blazers can't do anything to slow down their offense. Tip-off for Game 3 is tonight at 8 p.m. The Pelicans could potentially clinch the series Saturday afternoon. Speaking of clinching series, the Mudbugs are looking for payback at a clean sweep tonight in Corpus Christi. Last year, the Bugs were swept in the first round by the Ice Rays. This year, they're looking to return the favor and are one win away from clinching. The puck drops at 7-11 tonight. There will be a watch party for the game at Buffalo Wild Wings in Shreveport. In NHL action, the Nashville Predators are one game closer to closing out their series against Colorado. The Preds beat the Avalanche 3-2. They'll look to close out that series Friday night in Colorado. In baseball action, the LSU Tigers tried to pull off another dramatic come-from-behind win but they ultimately fell a little bit short, losing to Tulane 10-9. The Tigers hope to rebound this weekend when they take on the South Carolina Gamecocks in a 3-game series. And the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs continue to look strong after dominating the Lafayette Raging Cajuns 15-2. The win improves Tech's record to 26-13. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
Oh, that's us.
Yeah.
24 past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Speaking of people who are not so cool under pressure, got a headline for you. Ready?
Yeah.
9/11 operator who hung up on emergency calls is sentenced to jail.
Oh, boy.
Did you see this story?
Yeah.
A former, I'm going to read you the first couple of lines. Well, let me do this and then I'll ask my question. A former 9/11 operator who hung up on what could be as many as 1,000 phone calls on people attempting to call in emergencies in Harris County, Texas, has been sentenced to jail time. Krishanda Williams, age 44, found guilty of interference with emergency telephone calls after systematically hanging up on residents of that area.
Good night.
Okay, so if you've got a 9/11 operator and she's hanging up on what literally has turned out to be thousands of 9/11 calls while she was on duty. First of all,
not 9/11 calls.
Yes, a former 911 operator.
911.
Okay, 9/11.
No.
Yes.
No.
911 operator hung up on thousands of calls. How much jail time do you think somebody who did that should get? Williams reportedly had an unusual number of, quote, short calls, which were longer than 20 seconds. Prosecutors determined she hung up literally on thousands of calls. In one instance, an emergency caller told a local TV station he called 911 after he spotted two vehicles speeding on a highway where people had been killed. And his call was dropped after a few seconds. Okay, so there literally is evidence. There's literally, she hung up on calls where people were reporting mishaps, where people had been killed, where the legitimate emergencies, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, how much time do you think she might deserve in jail if you were the judge, if you were the jury in this case, and you said, look, we got the proof here. The records show you were hanging up on people whose lives were in danger. They were calling in crimes. They were calling in auto accidents. They were calling fires. And you said, what was her quote here? Ain't nobody got time for this. For real.
Wow.
That was one of the quotes. Ain't nobody got time for this. For real. So she's hanging up on emergency callers, her job as a 911 operator. You're the judge. You're the jury. What do you think the sentence should be?
I'm going to put her in jail for 90 days.
I give her at least a couple of years obstruction and whatnot. 1,000 charges. Even if they're minor penalties, you rack up 1,000 charges.
So you said how? You said a couple of years.
Maybe five.
I'm going to give her 90 days.
90 days.
Yeah.
You're both too high.
Uh-uh.
Try again.
Okay. 30 days.
You're too high.
Time served.
Wow.
10 days.
10 days in jail.
10 days in jail.
Oh, I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad.
10 days in jail. My question is, how did it take them? What is the time? Because it doesn't say in the story. What are the time frame? What is the time frame of these hang-ups? And why did it take so long? How did she have the opportunity to hang up on 1,000 people?
Golly.
Were
there like tons of calls in the queue waiting for her to get to?
See, this to me.
Or did she need to go get coffee?
Well, I think one of her quotes was, "Well, I didn't feel like talking at that moment."
Ain't nobody got time for this. Guy on the phone reporting a car accident in which people died. Ain't nobody got time for this. For real.
Holy moly.
So, is the failure only hers? Which brings me to the next question.
Somebody has to be listening to these recordings.
Which brings me to the next question, and we'll talk about this in the next segment, and maybe this will be the thread of the show this morning. Is anybody to blame at Starbucks? What blame, what responsibility does Starbucks management have for everything that's gone on? What is, if the people that Starbucks has in those positions are in fact racist, as everybody seems to be claiming, what is the flaw in Starbucks hiring practice that allows racists to be hired? And be promoted to manager?
They're having a sensitivity afternoon.
My point exactly.
They're going to make everyone go to it.
My point exactly. What big corporations do. Hey, it's not the fact that we hired these people. It's not on us. It's on them. Well, my question is, how on earth did you manage? What is the flaw in your hiring regimen? In your hiring practice? What questions don't you ask?
Yeah, you need to add some questions.
That allows, like, the Klans person to be hired.
Sure.
You got to take your sheet off for the interview, sir. Okay.
Oh my.
You got the job.
Come on. It's not that bad. Can it be? Can't be.
We'll talk
We
about
need some more training.
We'll talk about this. Yeah, need sensitivity training. We'll get to this later.
Oh, boy.
29 past. Have you heard the manager's side of the story?
No.
That she was following corporate policy.
OMG.
Oh, yeah. This says if people come in and loiter for more than 10 minutes, you ask them to leave. If they don't leave, you call the police. She says that's exactly what happened.
Oh, boy.
29 past 6 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Local news is next. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-49 South's got it clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Not as warm today, but nice with sunshine and a high of 70. Chilly tonight, clear to partly cloudy with a low of 43. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Newlyweds recovering after a frightening airplane ride. Tyler and Alexis Albin of Shreveport were on their way back from their honeymoon when the unthinkable happened. The engine on their Southwest flight blew up, turning their dream into a nightmare. The couple says the woman, who was partially sucked through a window that was ripped open, sat just 2 rows behind them. Tyler, a student at LSU Health, jumped into action in an attempt to save the woman's life. Unfortunately, her injuries were just too great. The couple's back in Shreveport, attempting to recover from the frightening near-death experience. What do the crime numbers in Shreveport look like when we compare to this time last year? Well, according to stats released by SPD, crime is down 16% compared to the first 3 months of last year. The numbers show a 20% decline in violent crime and a 15% drop in property crimes. Chief Alan Crump says one of the biggest factors in the decrease is the approval of overtime funds. He says the funds allow the department to spend more time on the street and run several special operations. Another company wants a tax exemption. Matt Parker with that.
Calumet Refinery is asking the Caddo Parish Commission for an ITEP break. The company says the $450,000 break over 5 years would allow them to create 83 or more jobs. While the commission is considering the break, several groups are speaking out against the request. Members of Interfaith and other groups are urging the commission to deny the offer and say the money could be used to help Shreveport's struggling juvenile detention center. The commission is expected to vote on the matter later today. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
6 people recovering after a rollover crash on West 70th. According to police, the car drifted into the path of an SUV. When the driver of the SUV swerved in an attempt to avoid a crash, the vehicle flipped over. Police say 4 children, 2 adults were in the SUV at the time. All of them suffered some sort of injury, though they are expected to recover. Officials continue to search for a 4-year-old boy who's been missing since April 5th in rural North Louisiana. Claiborne Parish Sheriff Ken Bailey says officials found nothing after draining a pond this week looking for Junior Phillips. The boy went missing while playing outside his home in Lisbon. Divers had already searched that and other ponds. Authorities have also used drones, helicopters, cadaver dogs, and volunteer search teams to look for the child. The full House will consider a budget today that funds TOPS, but it includes deep cuts to higher ed and health care. The budget's come under fire from leading Democrats, including Governor John Bel Edwards, who says it's a budget that's so bad it shouldn't even be considered.
What we see in the House right now is a budget bill that is just catastrophic. But I remain convinced we're going to be able to get it done, but it should not be this hard or take this long.
The Democratic caucus calling on its members to vote against the budget, but GOP House Delegation Chairman Lance Harris says the budget has one success, and that it is fully funding TOPS.
Well, I think a lot of the members on the Appropriations Committee had heard from constituents and from students and families that had already planned. But
the governor's threatened to veto the budget if it passes. The State Education Board has approved a plan to include opioid abuse prevention in our public school curriculum. The new secretary for the Department of Education, Sidney Dunn, says the program will be tailored to younger audiences and is aimed at explaining the dangers of opioid abuse.
And training them how to talk to kids from elementary school grades on up through high school about opioid abuse and about preventative actions.
A British water company has fished out a pair of size 14 pants from its system. And there was no problems caused by the pants. No idea yet how the pants got in the system. They believe someone may have flushed it down the toilet. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning, 637. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty at 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Anything new on the budget? We got a short segment here. We can talk about it next.
The governor is threatening to veto it if it should pass. The House, they need 53 votes. So the big discussion is today. It's on the House floor. It'll get debated and hashed out.
Yeah.
The chance of it passing 1 to 10, 2. I'd give it a 2. I don't think it'll pass.
Or would you say as is like 0?
As is probably 0. There'll be several amendments. There'll be some amendments to trim the TOPS funding and put more funding back in for health care and higher ed.
At the end, I'm going to say this. I want you to think about it. We'll go to break. At the end, basically the problem we have, not only in Louisiana, but in probably every state across America and with the federal government itself is, how do we pay for stuff for other people? How much, at the end of the day, how much of your paycheck are you willing to give, be it moral, the morality of the argument aside, okay, although that's hard to do.
Yeah.
How much of your paycheck should government take from you to pay for people who cannot, no matter what it happens to be? That's, in the end, what this is all about. People who can't pay for college, people who can't pay for health care, people who can't pay for their stuff. At the end of the day, how much of your money should government be allowed to take from you, or should you let government take from you?
I'm a giving person, but there's a point.
To pay for things that other people can't pay for themselves. 639, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Everything's looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive near Preston Avenue due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Not as warm today, but nice with sunshine and a high of 70. Chilly tonight, clear to partly cloudy with a low of 43. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
So when we last left the boys and girls in Baton Rouge, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, I had 3 or 4 people tell me yesterday that we did a fabulous job. One of those came in, remember, Mr. Rick came in and said, man, you guys made that budget stuff understandable. Which either A, we really are smarter than we think.
Or we stumbled onto something.
Or we just tripped over something. Yeah, that blind squirrel theory. Here's the deal. Is it the House Appropriations Committee?
Right.
And they sort of released the first, not the first draft of the budget. But it may as well be, because it certainly is going to be changed a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Or changed a lot. And what they decided to do in that House Appropriations Committee is basically the hell with everything except TOPS. Is that fair? Is that an overstatement?
They took care of tops. Everything else is be damned.
Why? We talked about this yesterday.
I still don't get it. I need to call Sheriff Prater, because here's the concern, and Matt brought it up a couple of times. The funding that the sheriffs get for housing state inmates would be slashed under this proposal. And if I'm Sheriff Prater, can I be the sheriff for a moment? I'd say,
why not? You're already running for mayor.
I'm not running for mayor.
That's what I hear.
I'd tell then keep your damn state inmates. I'm not housing them for you anymore. If it costs me $40 a day to house them, and you want to pay me $8, sorry. Thank you, but no thank you.
When all is said and done, isn't this just more evidence of the mess that we talked about earlier this week? When we talked about the difference between Louisiana and Texas, and how Texas, the money for the most part, the power in Texas is centralized, if you will, at the local level. Where in Louisiana, it all goes to Baton Rouge. Everything gets filtered. That state government, that Baton Rouge, the governor in Louisiana is one of the most powerful of all the governors in the nation as far as the power he wields over his state.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't this just an example of the mess that Baton Rouge is?
Yes.
That maybe if all this money didn't go to Baton Rouge to be as that clearinghouse of funding for everyone, that maybe if it stayed here for the most part, instead of going down south and being filtered through state government and the bureaucracies and the departments, that maybe we wouldn't be facing all these problems?
That's very accurate. Very accurate. And
because then the government would have to be more efficient because it's getting less money.
We're never going to turn back that clock, though. I fear that we'll never turn that clock back. And, that's going to be a struggle.
So throw your hands up and say, well, we're just going to have this fight. We're going to have this argument. We're going to have this dilemma where literally there's never enough money. The old Margaret Thatcher thing. Socialism is, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. Is Louisiana running out of other people's? Is the state government running out of other people's money? Is that John Bell's stance?
Yeah.
Is that Jay Darden's stance?
Yeah, absolutely.
We need more of your money. Because all the things we in Louisiana, and I said this about TOPS, but is it more than that? What I said about TOPS was we have decided as a state that the state should pay for kids' college educations. I said, well, wait a second. What about everything? No, we've decided, and the House Appropriations Committee certainly backs me up, that the most important thing that we do, the most important thing, according to the House Appropriations Committee, that state government pays for is TOPS. Not roads, not hospitals, not
colleges.
Fill in the blank. Is TOPS.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be the one thing that they went out of their way to fund to the detriment of everything else.
Right. You're right. I don't get it. And I think, and I'm hoping, and maybe we can catch up with a couple of the House members, I'm hoping they threw that out there as kind of a ticking bomb to see who would it explode on.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. I
mean, is this the tin cup theory of government? You're just going to keep hitting balls in the water to make your point?
Let's throw the worst thing we can imagine out there, and let's see what happens. Let's see how many people scream and holler. And now the screaming and hollering has started. And I don't know how loud it's going to get.
That's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I think it might be what's going on. I really do. I'll be surprised. There's no chance this budget passes. I mean, and they have to know that. There's no way they can't know that.
Then why, when they came out of committee, why was the one thing? Why did they not fund? Well, there's only so much money, and now we're back to that again, aren't we? Eventually, you run out of other people's money, and in this case, in this state of Louisiana, that other people is you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're out of money. We're broke.
And how long? How many more times? How many more special sessions? How many more cuts to things that we deem important? Be it TOPS, be it the public-private partnership hospitals, be it roads, be it fill in the blank. How many more times are we going to go through this every year or 2 years where we just throw up our hands and say, well, we're just out of money? Out of money. Why do we keep running out of money?
Right.
No. That's the question. Why do we keep running out of money?
Because we spend too dang much. Because the cost of government keeps growing. It's out of control. Our general fund budget is $8.7 or $8.8 billion. Some are saying it's actually going to top $9 billion.
Jay Darden said, Jay Darden, I got the quote right here from a couple of days ago. General budget has remained constant.
Yeah.
But if you're a career politician, when you're talking about constant, is $500 million difference? Is that just?
That's a couple of pennies on the ground.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Is a $500 million in state government, 2 state government officials, just a couple of pennies that it's not worth me bending over.
That to me is mind-boggling.
6:49. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben. Traffic update on KEEL.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Get news, weather, traffic, right here. Breaking news and trending talk is on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.652. It's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Time for sports.
The Pelicans are rolling back into New Orleans, up 2-0 in their first-round playoff series against the Portland Trail Blazers. Pelicans Senior VP of Sales Mike Stanfield says the New Orleans Stars are putting on a clinic defensively, and the Trail Blazers can't do anything to slow down their offense. Tip-off for Game 3 is tonight at 8 p.m. The Pelicans could potentially clinch the series Saturday afternoon. Speaking of clinching series, the Mudbugs are looking for payback at a clean sweep tonight in Corpus Christi. Last year, the Bugs were swept in the first round by the Ice Rays. This year, they are looking to return the favor and are one win away from clinching. The puck drops at 7:11 tonight. There will be a watch party for the game at Buffalo Wild Wings in Shreveport. In NHL action, the Nashville Predators are one game closer to closing out their series against Colorado. The Preds beat the Avalanche 3-2. They'll look to close out that series Friday night in Colorado. In baseball action, the LSU Tigers tried to pull off another dramatic come-from-behind win, but they ultimately fell a little bit short, losing to Tulane 10-9. The Tigers hope to rebound this weekend when they take on the South Carolina Gamecocks in a 3-game series. And the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs continue to look strong after dominating the Lafayette Raging Cajuns 15-2. The win improves Tech's record to 26-13. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
.655, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So it's just, I mean, there's just too much power in Baton Rouge. Is that basically it?
Too much.
And
we give them way too much money.
So how much more money? Because in the end, this is what it comes down to. All this budget stuff, it's how much of your money, I asked this earlier this hour, how much of your money are you willing to give good-hearted Erin McCarty? And I mean that with all sincerity. How much of your money should you give to Baton Rouge to give to people who can't buy stuff for themselves?
Well, I want to help people.
No matter what it is.
I would like to help people. I don't want to help people who are taking advantage of the system. I don't like doing that.
Do you feel that
But I think I give enough.
Do you think that giving your money to Baton Rouge is the most efficient way of helping those people?
Oh, heck no.
More on this just after 7 o'clock. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Rush.
Joe D'Alessandro, folks. He's the president of the San Francisco Visitors Bureau, and his job is to make you want to visit his city. And that's important because tourists and conventions bring in $9 billion a year. From that, City Hall San Francisco takes $725 million off the top in taxes. But Mr. D'Alessandro has gone public with a problem. Visitors are complaining their San Francisco sightseeing experiences include seeing people shooting up drugs in broad daylight, streets littered with dirty needles, garbage, and human poop. Tent camps are all over the place, not to mention threatening behavior by mentally ill or high street people and the homeless. Hotel operators say their guests are swearing to never come back. Store owners have to train workers how to respond when the druggies or the crazies vandalize their properties. Convention goers are flooding social media with horror stories about being victims of crimes. Now, that sounds bad, but there's a marketing goldmine here. The city can now begin selling itself as the great progressive success story that it is. San Francisco has become the world's ultimate sanctuary city, and not just for illegals, But for every addict, every criminal, every predator, every wandering shred of human debris the left defends, they're all at home in San Francisco. So liberals everywhere should come and visit and tiptoe through the poop happily. It's what liberalism provides. My good friends, you have heard me wax eloquently for years now about Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor. So when you hear Mahindra, I'm sure a hardworking, reliable, and bright red tractor is the first thing that comes to mind. But my good friends at Mahindra have an all-new utility vehicle, too. It's called the Mahindra Retriever, and it's built from the ground up right here in America. And listen to these specs. 83 horsepower engine, 60 mile per hour top speed, 2,500 pounds of towing capacity, and a 3-year warranty. So hurry in, see your Mahindra dealer for a test drive, or learn more about Mahindra tractors and the new Retriever at MahindraUSA.com.
Take advantage of rock bottom prices and test drive a Mahindra today at Kelly Tractor and Equipment in Longview, or visit kellytractor.net. That's kellytractor.net.
Looking right now, some slow-moving traffic on Greenwood Road near Hearn Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Here's your KEELAccuWeather.com forecast. Kind of sunny again today. A few clouds here and there. Not as warm. Low to middle 70s. Right now, 52 at Keel. 7 o'clock and time for Fox News.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning at 7:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. That KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Miss Erin, local news. What is up, kid?
Another talk about an ITEP break for a local business. We'll have that. The crime numbers for Shreveport released for the first quarter. How are they looking? And there was a local couple on that Southwest flight.
So Shreveport guy, Senator Greg Tarver, State Senator Greg Tarver, is on the Senate Finance Committee. We're going to talk with him in a couple of minutes about the bill, the budget coming out of the House Appropriations Committee.
Is it bogus or not?
And does it have any kind of chance at all? What does Mr. Greg have to say? Hang on. Plus, let me see, Fletcher went to the hockey game. Matt has sports in just a couple of minutes, traffic and weather, and it's all this hour. Coming up on KEEL.
Power of information. KEEL News now.
Another company's looking for a tax break. Calumet Refinery asking the Caddo Commission for an ITEP tax exemption. The company says the $450,000 break over 5 years would let them create 83 or more jobs. While the commission's considering the break, several groups are speaking out against it. Members of Interfaith and other groups urging commission members to deny the offer and say the money could be used to help Shreveport's struggling juvenile detention center. A vote could happen today before the commission. There's some good news on the crime-fighting front. Stats show crime is down 16% in Shreveport compared to the first 3 months of last year. The numbers show a 20% decline in violent crimes and a 15% drop in property crimes. Chief Alan Crump says one of the biggest factors in the decrease is the approval of overtime funds. He says the money allowed the department to spend more time on the street and run several special operations. Newlyweds recovering after a frightening airplane ride. Matt Parker with that.
Tyler and Alexis Albin were on their way back from their honeymoon when the unthinkable happened. The engine on their Southwest flight blew up, turning their dream into a nightmare. The couple says the woman, who was partially sucked through a window that was ripped open, sat just 2 rows behind them. Tyler, a student at LSU Health, jumped into action to attempt to save the woman's life. Unfortunately, her injuries were just too great. The couple's back in Shreveport, attempting to recover from the frightening near-death experience. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Quite a mess on West 70th Street last night. A rollover crash involving an SUV and a car. The SUV was swerving in an attempt to avoid an accident. That vehicle flipped over. There were 4 children and 2 adults inside. All of them suffered some sort of injury, though all are expected to make full recoveries. House Republican leaders are trying to rally enough votes to pass a budget for next year that contains steep cuts to health services. Lance Harris says the budget being discussed is not final and a great tool for identifying where to start in a future special session.
Before the session is called, we need to know exactly where that money needs to go and exactly what the needs are. So this is all part of that process.
The budget's come under fire from leading Democrats, including Governor John Bel Edwards, who says the cuts are a massive blow to crucial state services. The State Education Board has approved a plan to include opioid abuse prevention education in our schools. Louisiana Department of Education Sidney Dunn says educators can bring a unique set of skills to the fight against opioid addiction.
Much of these efforts, though, have focused on treatment and recovery. So the education community saw an opportunity to get involved in this fight on the side of prevention.
After 6 decades, Cuba will no longer have a Castro as president. Members of the assembly have voted on Miguel Bermudez's nomination as the sole candidate for president. The 57-year-old bureaucrat will take Raul Castro's place today. But Raul Castro will remain head of the Communist Party, which is designated by the Constitution as, quote, the superior guiding force of society and the state. President Trump says a much-hyped meeting between him and North Korea's leader could still be called off.
If I think that it's a meeting that is not going to be fruitful, we're not going to go. If the meeting, when I'm there, is not fruitful, I will respectfully leave the meeting. and we'll continue what we're doing or whatever it is that will continue, but something will happen. So I like always remaining flexible, and will remain flexible here. I've gotten it to this point.
How much would you pay for a home that really is condemned? Well, this California home has holes in the roof and mildew in the pipes, and it is a mess. Well, it has sold at auction for $1.23 million. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Time for traffic. Ruben's here.
The intersection at Kings Highway and Linwood Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Spur in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, 12 past 7 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Don't forget that KEEL app is free. Free download, Office Furniture Source. Senator Greg Tarver is joining us for a couple of seconds. Good morning, Mr. Greg. How are you today?
Good morning. How you all doing?
So Senator Tarver is also a member of the Senate Finance Committee, and I'm sure that you have one or two thoughts you'd like to tell us. What's rolling through your mind about the House Appropriations Committee budget? You got to look. What are you guys on the Senate Committee talking about?
Well, we're talking about, number one, we cannot understand why the House did not use the $346 million and divide it as equally as possible for higher education, for health care, and tops. But what is happening right now, they are destroying LSU Med School. Even the people in our area who's on the committee is not doing a good job to promote LSU Med School in Shreveport.
Mr. Gregg, pardon me, this is not your first day in politics, to say the least. What is your theory on why the that the House Appropriations Committee put such a priority on TOPS?
Well, because number one, TOPS is a good program, don't get me wrong. I like to see TOPS funded fully, but my problem I have, you have to make a choice when you only have a limited amount of money. I put my values on human beings and the life and the living of human beings before I put my life on anything else. What is happening over there, they don't care about the needy and poor people. They're only concerned about the education. And not only that, they're only concerned about TOPS because they did not fully fund higher education.
The Dr. Ghali went before your panel saying this will cause our university health and the med school to implode. Is that crying wolf? Is that accurate?
That is very accurate. What is going to happen, LSU med school and the hospital will turn into a small clinic.
That's not realistic. That's not really going to happen. You guys are going to unravel this budget and dice and slice it, right?
Well, let me tell you the problem that you have. You only have a limited amount of money. Where are you going to place this money, and what are your priorities? Okay? My priorities is making sure saving people's lives. I am clearly for health care, okay? I'm for TOPS too, but TOPS is not my number one priority. Human beings is my number one priority by saving their life.
How are y'all going to do this? Right now, you can't pass new taxes during the regular session. Why not just end it and go into special when you can look at all options rather than just cuts?
That's very easy to say, but dealing with the House of Representatives is very, very difficult. Now, I am for some taxes, not all taxes. I'm for enhancing the revenue where we can be able to take care of the hospital, higher education, and TOPS, and fund some needed programs in Louisiana. But the people in the House of Representatives from North Louisiana,
you care to name names? Who are the ones that are being most obstinate?
I don't want to name all the people. Basically, I don't think that's fair. But the people know who they are better than I do. They talk about supporting LSU, but they vote against taxes and said in the same breath, I support LSU, but I'm not going to support the money for LSU.
Mr. Gregg,
look in the House of Representatives.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the history of the people that's in the House of Representatives from North Louisiana. They do not support taxes to support LSU Med School. No one likes to be taxed. Don't tax me, tax the man behind the tree. I don't like taxes either, but I have to pay. Everybody has to pay taxes.
We had Jay Darden on. We had Mr. Jay on a couple of days ago, and I asked him this question pertaining to another special session. If the governor had been getting from special sessions what he wanted to this point, he wouldn't have to keep calling more and more special sessions. Now he wants another one, given the fact that the makeup, the ideological makeup of both houses of the legislature, the Senate, the House, they haven't changed. Why would the governor think that another special session is going to produce anything that he wants? Isn't it just a waste of time?
Well, no, it's not a waste of time. Sometimes people get shocked into reality. And once they realize that the LSU Med School in New Orleans, the hospitals in New Orleans, the hospitals all over this state that supported the private-public partnership are going to close, that would shock them into reality. When they realize that higher education is going to have to cut, that will shock them into reality. At least I hope that will shock them into reality.
You know, you made the point a couple of seconds ago about those people in the House. Well, a lot of those members of the House think the problem with Louisiana is the way that things are structured, i.e. too many protected areas and that the answer to this would be a constitutional convention to sort of sort things out, to rebalance things. What do you think about that?
Well, yes, that sounds very good, but you have to realize that it takes 2/3 votes to go to a constitutional convention. That is a very difficult thing to do in the legislature, especially that the Republican-controlled House. We have serious problems in this state, and they don't want to resolve those problems. It's just that simple.
You said when you started that sentence, when I said about the constitutional convention, you said, yes, that would be very good. Does that mean that you would be in favor of a constitutional convention?
Well, I'm in favor of a constitutional convention to serve certain issues, to deal with, when we get ready to cut this budget, we don't cut higher education and health care. We need to spread it out. We need to thin it out a little bit. We have serious problems in this state. We've been kicking the can down the road a long time. We've been using one-time money for a long time. Now, the one-time money is not there anymore. We done swept all the accounts we can sweep. We don't have any more money.
Senator Greg Tarver, let me ask you one more thing. Nobody can really explain this to me. I'm hoping you can. Why can't we go to every state agency head and say, cut your budget by 10%? You're the boss. You know, you're the expert. Cut your budget by 10%. Why can that not be done?
Yes, it can be done. But let me tell you what they'll do. They'll cut it. The worst part of it, give you an example. Let me give you examples better. Before you go to DHH that deal with the Medicaid program, they're going to cut waivers. They know the legislature is not going to cut waivers. You're not going to cut waivers for little bitty kids who are in wheelchairs. They know that, but they'll send you that 10%. And no, you're not going to cut that 10%.
So they're not going to send you real cuts. They're going to send you ones that know that'll make your phone ring.
So what you're saying is that if every state department head were told to cut 10%, the first thing they'd cut would be services to the people?
That's exactly right, because they know you're not going to do that.
Could you tell them cut 10% of your staff? Could you do that?
Well, let me say this. We have cut employees in this state about 40%. Right now in family services, we don't have enough people in family services right now to deal with children. It's going to wind up the federal courts will tell us at some point you got to go hire some more people.
And yet, pardon me, the general fund budget keeps going up. What is it this year, Erin?
$8.7 billion, maybe 8.8.
But our money is not basically general funds. Our budget is federal funds,
sure,
and self-generated funds. See, a lot of people got to realize, and I think we have not educated the people good enough to realize a lot of these funds dealing with insurance, for example, that is paid by people in insurance companies. Those are generated fees. Wildlife and fishery is generated fees. Our problem is we don't have enough money in the general fund, because if we had more money in the general fund, we could get many more federal programs, 70-30 match. Mm-hmm. We put up 30%, they put up 70%. The bulk of our budget is $27 billion of federal funds.
Sure.
And self-generated funds.
Senator Greg Tarver, y'all got a mess to unravel. Good luck to you. Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
20 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic. Sheriff Steve Prater on that budget and how it affects the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Department.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, Caddo Correctional. We'll talk with him in about 15 minutes. Right now, traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly, low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
24 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Matt has sports.
The Pelicans are rolling back into New Orleans, up 2-0 in their first-round playoff series against the Portland Trail Blazers. Pelicans Senior VP of Sales Mike Stanfield says the New Orleans Stars are putting on a clinic defensively, and the Trail Blazers can't do anything to slow down their offense. Tip-off for Game 3 is tonight at 8 p.m. The Pelicans could potentially clinch the series Saturday afternoon. Speaking of clinching series, the Mudbugs are looking for payback at a clean sweep tonight in Corpus Christi. Last year, the Bugs were swept in the first round by the Ice Rays. This year, they're looking to return the favor and are one win away from clinching. The puck drops at 7-11 tonight. There will be a watch party for the game at Buffalo Wild Wings in Shreveport. In NHL action, the Nashville Predators are one game closer to closing out their series against Colorado. The Preds beat the Avalanche 3-2. They'll look to close out that series Friday night in Colorado. In baseball action, the LSU Tigers tried to pull off another dramatic come-from-behind win, but they ultimately fell a little bit short, losing to Tulane 10-9. The Tigers hope to rebound this weekend when they take on the South Carolina Gamecocks in a 3-game series. And the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs continue to look strong after dominating the Lafayette Raging Cajuns 15-2. The win improves Tech's record to 26-13. From the Keel Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel, 25 past 7 o'clock. Robert and Erin. I don't know if you saw this. New Yorkers send their train of poop to Alabama.
Oh, boy.
Now, it's stuck there.
A train of poop?
It's a Daily Wire story.
What are they going to? What's Alabama going to do with it?
It is an Nick Saban's office. It is an oft.
Good idea.
It is an oft bandied about supposition. New Yorkers look down their noses. Blah blah blah. Rural South. Here's the deal. In Parrish, Alabama, a train holding millions of pounds of human waste from New York State. Basically, the train is stuck to the point that. What are you giggling at?
I love this.
The train is at Parrish, Alabama, population just about 1,000. The train stuck in a rail yard next to the city's softball and Little League fields has forced people indoors, games at those facilities, since the smell is so bad.
Oh, my gosh.
Little League games have been canceled.
Wow.
It is reported that because of New York environmental laws, basically they take all wherever this stuff comes from and they put it on a train, and because they can't dump it in the ocean or into the rivers or they can't bury it, basically the environmental laws in New York are strict, so strict that they have to ship it out of state. And so they pay
They're poop exporters.
They pay Alabama.
I've been knowing that since Hillary was senator there.
They pay Alabama a whole lot of money to take their waste off their hands.
Maybe Shreveport could become the poop capital of the world.
Because New York has no room for its bio-waste and cannot dump it into the Atlantic Ocean or rivers, et cetera, because of those laws.
Oh, man.
It has for years transported its excrement to Alabama. Alabama's zoning and environmental laws, not as restrictive as New York's. The train was bound for the Big Sky Environmental Landfill, roughly 20 miles from Parrish, Alabama. But then a problem. The nearby town of West Jefferson, which was supposed to receive the load, where trucks were supposed to transport the waste to the landfill, filed an injunction against the landfill in January, preventing any further bio-waste from out of state being stored in. You get the idea.
Oh, yeah.
So now it's on the way. Shipments following the injunction are held up, waiting a court ruling in Parrish, Alabama.
Shipments of
only 2 square miles. The city is a very small town. It is now in its rail yards in excess of 10 million.
Oh my God.
Pounds of
we could take it at Camp Minden. We can blow it up.
Of poop. 29 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
My head was about to explode after reading about this professor at Fresno State. Have you seen this?
Yes, I did. What she said about Barbara Bush.
Oh my God. I gotta read you this in a minute.
And Sheriff Steve Prater in just about 15 minutes. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's traffic. Here's Ruben.
Just received reports of a minor accident on Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound near I-49 North, and we have some traffic delays on Line Avenue near East 70th Street. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Not as warm today, but nice with sunshine and a high of 70. Chilly tonight, clear to partly cloudy with a low of 43. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Newlyweds recovering after a frightening airplane ride. Tyler and Alexis Albin of Shreveport were on their way back from their honeymoon when the unthinkable happened. The engine on their Southwest flight blew up, turning their dream into a nightmare. The couple says the woman who was partially sucked through a window that was ripped open sat just 2 rows behind them. Tyler, a student at LSU Health, jumped into action in an attempt to save the woman's life. Unfortunately, her injuries were just too great. The couple's back in Shreveport, attempting to recover from the frightening near-death experience. What do the crime numbers in Shreveport look like when we compare to this time last year? Well, according to stats released by SPD, crime is down 16% compared to the first 3 months of last year. The numbers show a 20% decline in violent crime and a 15% drop in property crimes. Chief Alan Crump says one of the biggest factors in the decrease is the approval of overtime funds. He says the funds allow the department to spend more time on the street and run several special operations. Another company wants a tax exemption. Matt Parker with that.
Calumet Refinery is asking the Caddo Parish Commission for an ITEP break. The company says the $450,000 break over 5 years would allow them to create 83 or more jobs. While the commission is considering the break, several groups are speaking out against the request. Members of Interfaith and other groups are urging the commission to deny the offer and say the money could be used to help Shreveport's struggling juvenile detention center. The commission is expected to vote on the matter later today. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
737, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert and Erin. Okay, you got not much time to talk about this.
I'll make it quick. This Fresno State professor said some horrible things about the death of Barbara Bush. She said, quote, Barbara Bush was a generous and smart and amazing racist who, along with her husband, raised a war criminal. Beep out of here with your nice words. She says, bye, and I cannot be fired because I'm a tenured professor. I make $100,000 a year. They can't touch me. They need to touch her.
Well,
she's not teaching anymore, right? They've removed her from that?
She will not be teaching classes in spring semester, which basically means she will be sitting in her office making $100,000
I would make
year.
her pick up trash. She'd be the new lunch lady at Fresno State.
$100,000 a year to go to lunch, not to be serving it.
You serve up that cauliflower mashed potatoes.
739, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Caddo Sheriff Steve Prater is next. Traffic update now, and Ruben is ready.
Just received reports of a minor accident on Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound near I-49 North. And we have some traffic delays on Line Avenue near East 70th Street. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly, low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 8:41. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Don't forget about the Keel app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Let's see. Caddo Parish Steve Prater is here for a little bit. Mr. Steve, how have you been? Thank you for taking time.
Sure, no problem. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. This budget that has come out of the House Appropriations Committee that is making everybody, it would seem, just kind of wince and groan and recoil. You've had a look at that. It would affect you in important ways. Tell us about that. Tell us how. Tell us what you think.
Well, they're proposing that the per diem for state prisoners be cut $3. Right now we get about $24. They want to cut that to $3. At $24, we're losing money. We're doing the state a favor by keeping them, and we don't have we're down to about 300 at our jail or less, and most of ours are awaiting trial. They're not state prisoners. What the state's basically doing is, with this budget, in respect to the sheriff's office, is that they're putting their priorities above ours. That's not tax cuts. That's not any kind of cuts to their budgets. It's cuts to our budget. And it's passing it on to the locals. It's almost like saying, "Hey, what we need is more important than what you need."
Let me clarify just a second.
I'm offended by the idea that they're even going to take money from us and the citizens of Caddo Parish to handle the misspending that the state has done.
Right now, you have 300 state prisoners. The state gives you $24 per prisoner per day, and they want to cut it to $3 per day. Is that what you just told me?
No, they want to cut it by $3.
Cut it by
okay.
three.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
misunderstood.
Yeah,
Okay.
it costs us over $50 a day to keep them to begin with. Just our food's $2.5 million.
I knew it was
So-
over 40. Is there a point, Steve, and I'm sorry I'm calling you Steve, is there a point where you can say, I'm not housing any more state inmates?
Well,
It's not worth it to
you
me.
just turn them away.
Right. There is a point that'll happen, but it'll affect the number of employees that we carry. So like I say, I have about, I don't know, say 1,000 right now awaiting trial. We get $3.50 a day for them. So that is, I mean, we're really in the hole on that deal. And then when these state prisoners, they're the ones that at least we're having a little cash flow so that we can pay employees. Corrections is not a money-making deal. I lose between $2 and $3 million, maybe $4 million some years. That comes from our general fund budget that has to supplement our corrections budget. In other words, money that could be protecting citizens on the street has to go out there to protect heathens that have done something to people on the street.
The corrections secretary.
And that aggravates me anyway. And then to cut that because you can't handle your budget down in Baton Rouge is just aggravating.
Corrections Secretary Jimmy LeBlanc says that most sheriffs in Louisiana probably would not be able to house state inmates in their jails if they end up getting paid just about $19 a day. You feel that's pretty accurate? That a lot of sheriffs would react the same way?
I would imagine that they would. I mean, I can't imagine them not doing it because how can we say if we're losing money now on state prisoners and on corrections, and then we're going to be willing to take a cut at some point? Like you say, you got to shut your operation down. But with our facility, I've got so many awaiting trial. We don't house state prisoners for money or for profit. We house them because they're the ones you can force to do the work. When I say forced to do the work, please, last time I said something like that. But they're the ones that are sentenced by the judge to do hard work. Okay, and it's not hard work. It's like cleaning up the kitchen out there, and it's like, maintenance on the facility. It's like taking care of the dog pound. It's things like that they choose to do anyway. So they're the ones that are sentenced to hard labor. They're the ones that are sentenced to work, and we use them to cook and to clean around the facility.
So short of standing at the door and putting your hand up in a stop sign-like way, what recourse do you have?
Well, I'll come up with something. I don't know about the rest of the sheriffs, but I'm going to come up with something.
Give us a hint.
Well, let me rephrase the question. Are you getting on the phone? Do you plan to get on the phone with other sheriffs across the state and say, let's band together on this. Let's become our own little lobby, if you will?
Well, I mean, we do that constantly, and we got something some of them down there have already met with the governor. And see, but we're being used as pawns, If they cut the sheriffs, and then whatever side is on the other side says, look, they're trying to cut you. You need to call them. And then they try to pass a budget that doesn't have our cuts in it, but it cuts somebody else. So it's you say it's sausage down there, the way that things are handled. It's so confusing and so I won't say confusing because I understand what's going on. It's kind of like,
confusing is good.
Yeah.
We can go with that.
Well, I understand everybody's jockeying and you got egos and you got selfishness and you got politics and you got, I know they got needs down there, but if I have needs, I don't push it down on somebody else in the parish to pay for what I've done or how I spend my money. I'm responsible for what I get, and I got to make the appropriate cuts, and I don't have anybody pass it on. The federal government, the state government, passes it on to us at the local level and the citizens. Look at Affordable Care Act, for instance. That's cost us right at $6 million a year. Now more than we used to have to pay at the sheriff's office level.
So do we need to raise taxes in the state so that everybody doesn't face these cuts?
I think we need to, if we need to raise taxes, it's only after every fluffball program has been cut, eliminated, cut back on, and that people are working. The people that can work are working for what they get. There's so much abuse in some areas around that it's aggravating. People are getting things that don't work for them, and it's causing us that work to have to pay for them. And it's aggravating. There are people that need help.
I can hear you're ticked off.
Well, no, I'm not really.
Not really.
But it is aggravating. I mean, who isn't aggravated at the way that the money is spent? And it's all pushed down on us, and we're forced to do what we got to do to get by. Well, we're just as important as the state. Don't even think about cutting our state prisoner pay when we're losing money and doing you a favor to keep them anyway. And so that'd be my message to Baton Rouge is go ahead. Big boy, you're going to bite off more than you can chew one day.
Sheriff Steve Prater, thanks so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
749, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Time for traffic. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on that minor accident on Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound near I-49 northbound. And we have some traffic delays on Uri Drive near Southfield Road. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. Get more breaking news and trending talk at KEELnews.com. KEELnews.com. Talk at KEELnews.com. KEELnews.com.
I'm Jennifer Koshinka with your Money
1017 FM and 710 Keel 755. Yes.
Larry Bagley, state rep, who's on the Appropriations Committee, he's going to join us 10 past 8. We're still trying to unravel this budget that's going from the appropriations to the House floor today and then on to the Senate if it's approved.
Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Oh, my God. This is from earlier this morning. This is, let's just say this is pre-Prater interview.
Okay.
Oh, my God. So many of the politicians who now complain about kicking the can down the road by using one-time monies are the very same who voted to use those monies to keep expanding government. I'm sick of these manipulative, whining, double-dealing, fraudulent jackwagons.
Jackwagons?
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Stop using the money I work for to buy your political power.
Ooh.
756, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
Your morning cup of Sean. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
All right, so much to the dismay of leftists in the mainstream media, the American people seem to be catching on to the unethical and criminal ways of the deep state that destroy Trump hypocrites inside our own government, sadly. And the Washington Times recently highlighted a Marist poll. 30% of Americans now say they have an unfavorable view of special counsel Robert Mueller. That's up a full 10 points since the end of March. Another poll from Rasmussen, it shows that 46% of all voters believe the former FBI director, James Comey, should be prosecuted for leaking information in the media when he was still the director of the FBI. I guess that's what happens when you mislead the American people and attempt to shred the Constitution and overturn a duly elected president.
The conservative underground meets later today on the Sean Hannity Show.
Snoring. It's not funny, and it's definitely not normal. It's actually a sign that you're not breathing properly while you sleep. And you're probably ruining your partner's sleep as well. If you have a blocked or narrow nose, then you're more likely to open your mouth to breathe, resulting in the loud, noisy sounds of snoring. But now, thanks to an Australian innovation called Mute, the answer to your snoring problem may be right under your nose. Mute is an easy-to-use and comfortable nasal dilator that sits inside the nose and supports your airway, keeping it open while you sleep. It helps you breathe more easily through your nose, so you can keep your mouth closed. In trials, 75% of couples reported a reduction in snoring when using Mute, allowing them both to enjoy a better night's sleep. Mute is available now at Walgreens, GNC, or your local drugstore. Find your nearest store at mutesnoring.com. Mute. Breathe more, snore less, sleep.
1017 FM and 710 Keel, the place to get in-depth coverage of the stories that matter.
This is Shreveport City Councilman Jeff Everson, and I love listening to Robert and Erin in the morning. They keep our community knowing about the important decisions that are being made, and they're a lot of fun to listen to.
We are Keel, 1017 FM and 710 Keel.
It is 7:59. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Fox News just a couple of seconds away. Right now, one more traffic update this hour. Here's Ruben.
Just received reports of a major accident on East Burtcoon's Industrial Loop near Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound. And we have some heavy backed up traffic on the I-20 westbound starting at Spring and Market. It's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROW.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. It's 8:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and the KEEL app, a free download. Erin, local news is getting ready.
Crime numbers are in for Shreveport for the first quarter. We'll talk more about those numbers. Another tax exemption. A local entity wants just that. And newlyweds from Shreveport were on that Southwest flight.
So Larry Bagley from Logansport, he is a House representative, he's on the House Appropriations Committee, and he's going to tell us all about that budget and how it came to be.
And the big debate today on the House floor.
Plus, I think we're going to talk about Starbucks a little bit, maybe about the Barbara Bush lady, you know, that Fresno State teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's classy. That's keep it classy, Fresno. Fletcher in sports. No, he's out today. Matt has sports, traffic, and weather this hour coming up on KEEL.
Information. KEEL News now.
What do the crime numbers in Shreveport look like compared to this time last year? Matt Parker takes a look.
According to stats released by the Shreveport Police Department, crime in the city is down 16% compared to the first 3 months of last year. The numbers show a 20% decline in violent crimes and a 15% drop in property crimes. Police Chief Alan Crump says one of the biggest factors in the decrease is the approval of overtime funds by the mayor and city council. He says the funds allowed the department to spend more time on the streets and to run several special operations. From 101.7 FM at 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Another company wants a tax exemption. Calumet Refinery asking the Caddo Commission for an ITEP tax break. The company says the $450,000 break over 5 years would allow them to create 83 or more jobs. While the commission is considering the break, several groups are speaking out against the request. Members of Interfaith and other groups are urging the commission to deny the offer and say the money could be used to help Shreveport's struggling juvenile detention center. The commission expected to vote on the matter later today. Newlyweds recovering after a frightening airplane ride. Tyler and Alexis Albin were on their way back home from their honeymoon when the unthinkable happened. The engine on their Southwest flight blew up, turning their dream into a nightmare. The couple says the woman who was partially sucked through a window that was ripped open sat just 2 rows behind them. Tyler, a student at LSU Health, jumped into action to try to save her life. Unfortunately, her injuries were too great. The couple's back in Shreveport attempting to recover from the frightening near-death experience. 6 people recovering after a rollover crash on West 70th. SPD says a car drifted into the path of an SUV. When the SUV swerved, the vehicle flipped over. Police say 4 children and 2 adults were in the SUV at the time. All of them suffered some sort of injury, though all are expected to recover. Leon Williams, Michael Kenzie, and Darius Jenkins have been arrested by Shreveport police for allegedly stealing a pistol and an AK-47 from a local pawn shop. According to police, the suspect worked together to distract the store clerk and make off with the firearms. A 4th suspect is still at large. The full House will consider a budget today that funds TOPS but includes deep cuts in health care and higher ed. The budget's come under fire from leading Democrats, including Governor Edwards, who says the cuts are a massive blow to crucial services.
Just from this year to next, there will be a reduction of $571 million state general fund. But when you put the matching dollars from the federal government, the cut is really $1.96 billion.
House Republican leaders are trying to rally enough votes to pass the budget. They need 53 votes to get the $27 billion operating budget proposal over to the Senate. The State Education Board has approved a plan to include opioid abuse prevention education in our schools. Cindy Dunn says the education will be folded into existing substance abuse programs that are already in place.
School systems are required by state to include in their curriculum programs about substance abuse prevention. These include information designed to reduce the likelihood that students injure themselves.
Educators can bring a unique set of skills to the fight against opioid addiction. That's the word from education leaders. President Trump says although he's preparing to meet with Kim Jong-un in coming weeks, he could still pull out of the meetings if he feels it's not going to be fruitful. Police have arrested a motorist who stripped naked and danced in the street following a multi-vehicle crash west of Detroit. Police say the man plowed his pickup into other vehicles in Westland, got out of the truck, took off all his clothes, then started dancing around. They say he is expected to be okay, though he was hospitalized. Those mourning the end of Scandal as a TV series might want to have some tissues on hand, maybe a glass of red wine tonight. The show ends its 7th and final season. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic.
Still keeping an eye on that major accident on East Berkcoons Industrial Loop near Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound. And we have some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market Street due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Not as warm today, but nice with sunshine and a high of 70. Chilly tonight, clear to partly cloudy with a low of 43. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 11 past 8 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Always the KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Mr. Larry Bagley is a representative from Logansport. Hey, Mr. Larry, how are you today?
Robert, I'm just right. How are you?
Larry, I don't know how you can be just right. What on earth are y'all doing with that budget?
Well, I can't speak for everybody else. The only one I can speak for, I've only got one vote. I wish I had 50, but I've only got one. I'm going to vote to kill it, simply because I can't pass a budget that basically kills a hospital and a medical school. I mean, that one of the things I ran on was helping the med school and keeping it going. And if we pass that along with it not funded, that we basically voted to kill it. Now, we might fix it later on. I just don't want to take that chance. I want to be involved in fixing all that.
Now, you're on the House Appropriations Committee. You're on the committee the budget came out. Do you feel like you got steamrolled in that committee in the budget process?
No, not really. I mean, I was involved in new. I even added money for the Northwest group to the development group, and others in the state. No, not really. It was just after studying the situation a little bit more, getting some more information. In fact, even last night, this morning, looking at all that, it just doesn't make sense to vote for something that's basically going to kill the hospital. I'm sending the message that the hospital and medical school is not important to me, and I'm not going to send that message.
Larry, I may be feeling like I'm kind of alone here, but you're the only guy from our region on this appropriations committee.
Of 28 members.
Of 28 members, the only one to fight for our region. That I struggle with that firstly, and you must have an uphill battle in that committee.
I wouldn't say uphill. I'd say cliff hill, baby. It is, and look, I realize I can't do anything about what the other folks think. I just know for me how I campaigned in the coming and trying to get elected. Originally, was the medical school was one of the main things I did. Of course, higher education, MFP public schools. How do I vote to not fund it? And that's exactly what I do. And I can't. I don't know how everybody else is going to vote. I'm sure that everybody has their own opinion, and maybe I've told you some of them. But for me, I have to fund that medical school. I have to be sure it's funded, and work with the ones that we can to get that, to make that happen.
Mr. Larry, what was the process in the committee, and as it came out of appropriations, where the decision was made by the committee to fully fund TOPS to the detriment, to the expense of other programs?
Well, what we saw was that there is other money that could be used for the hospital. There's more money in the budget that was given to LDH that could be used for the hospital. That's the problem for me. It's $463 million, I believe, that's in there that's appropriated to them. The problem is that we didn't earmark that for the medical school. I want to be sure that, and while that's there, and I want to be sure that the TOPS obviously was funded, because TOPS is how colleges, a lot of those colleges remain viable, because they use it. Students that use TOPS go to their schools and spend money and help them all do that. So that was the reason for that. I've always supported TOPS. But again, I want to be sure that just to say, well, we've got extra money, we'll try to get it on the medical school, is not good enough for me. I want to be sure that we fund the medical school to the appropriate extent, and not only our medical school, but the others too, and to be sure that the higher education is funded, and MFP doesn't have to, we don't have to take another 5%, which by law we can take 5% from the MFP if we're in critical shortage, and we are. So those were the things, Robert, that I looked at. Again, that's not an easy vote. That's not along the party lines, I'm sure. I don't know. I haven't talked to everybody this morning. I'm about to do that. But, I might have to go sit in the corner. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to do.
This budget is on the House floor today. How dastardly, how nasty is this fight going to be?
It probably won't be as bad as some of the other fights we've had. We had the 391 bill, the water bill. That was I doubt it'll be like that. I think pretty much everybody knows how they're going to vote and what their reasons are. I mean, we've been talking about this since the first special session this year. So we all have spent all this time preparing for this moment. And I don't want to go back into special session any more than anybody else does. But we have not met the obligation to fund the things that we promised. And, the poor and the people that are sick. I mean, one of these days I'm going to be in the hospital. I'm lucky enough I hadn't had to, but it will happen, and I want to be sure we have good doctors there to take care of me.
Larry, there are 28 members on that House Appropriations Committee, you being one of them. How many of those 28 members do you think will vote against the budget that came out of this committee?
If I knew that, I'd go to the track.
I'll take you to play blackjack with me. Larry, let me ask you this. Is it time that we look at bringing in more money, raising taxes, keeping that penny on the books? Are you in that camp yet, or are you still being pushed?
Well, I'm going to have to. I mean, Erin, I don't know how we're going to get any more money. Tax revenues are up from the oil and gas industry. The revenues are up. All that's up. Things are going to get better. We just have not received money from the REC. yet or permission to use it to not need more money. I think that probably maybe keeping a quarter, that instead of taking the whole penny off, maybe just part of it, and give that's still a tax break. And if revenue does by the end of the year go up, we can always suspend that use. We talked about that already, where we would do away with it without a vote.
So here's my here's my question to Jay Darden. Yeah. Here was my question earlier today to Greg Tarver, and I'll ask you. The governor wants another special session. If he were getting what he wanted from all his special sessions, he wouldn't need more special sessions. Given the fact that the makeup of the legislature, the Senate and the House, has not changed since the last special session or special sessions,
right?
Why does the governor think this special session will be any different?
Well, that's a great question, Robert. I wish I'd have thought of it. The governor, I'm sure, like most of the rest of us have known, we tried to pass a tax decrease instead of killing the whole penny, just kill 3/4 of it in the first special session. We had a pushback from Democrats who said they didn't want to do that, and the governor is a Democrat. Now we're going back and looking at the same issue. Are the Democrats going to be willing to work with us to try to make this thing work? I can't answer that. Again, the only thing I can say is that I'm determined to fund the medical school. I'm determined to fund higher ed, TOPS, get those things done. Now that money, we're going to have to get money from somewhere. The easiest place to go get it would be not rescind all the penny.
Assuming for the moment that you, Larry Bagley, are an incredibly persuasive man.
Yeah.
And when the House of Representatives votes on this budget, and because you're persuasive, it is soundly defeated, then what happens? Do you guys on the Appropriations Committee, do you start from scratch, square one, start all over?
No, we won't start from scratch. We'll just, we know where the money needs to be, and we'll just go back in and redo things and where it fits, where those things are appropriated, the money is appropriated. It's not going to be rocket science. We've already done all the numbers.
But I can only assume that this budget came out of committee, because the majority of people on the committee thought it would pass, right?
Yes, that was a thought. Yes, and again, we were under, and we do know that there is money that has not been earmarked there. Again, I think $463 million was the last number I got. That has not been earmarked. It went to LDH. The LDH can use it for anything. They could use it for the hospitals, but it has not been done. So where it goes, I want to be sure that money's earmarked for medical school. Again, I don't want to leave this session and wondering if everything's going to be taken care of. That's not my job. My job is to be sure things are taken care of.
Larry Bagley, I'm going to ask you my stupid question that I've asked them all again. Why can't you guys and the governor tell every state agency head, go cut your budget by 10%. Bingo, bango, we've solved our problem. Why can't that be done? Is that a dumb question?
No, that's not a dumb question. The problem is that, historically, since I've been here, and I just go back 2 years, we've done that every year pretty much. We've cut budget, and part of the deal is because everything rises, inflation, they have to have a little more money to operate. Interest on our money that we've borrowed. It's just hard to do that. Some of that money is statutory dedicated. I'm on a committee to try to change that. We did half of all the agencies, all the statutory dedications. I was on the committee it was a joint Senate and Representative committee. We looked at half the agencies. We came up with, I can't remember how many hundreds of millions of dollars that we're going to look at either replacing or changing their title to make them come back to ask each year. But we're doing that that's not gone unheard of, and we are working with that now to try to get that done. Again, we won't be through with that till next year. We'll meet through the year and come back, because there's 360-something agencies that we have to go through. We did half of them, and we had every agency come in front of us and talk, testimony to ask them exactly where that money went to. And that's the only way I know to do it, is to find out where it is, and if we really need that to go there, can we just do it somewhere else?
Gotcha. Larry Bagley, state rep from Logansport. Please, remind all those folks there's hundreds of thousands of us that live north of I-10.
Yeah, well, and I promise you, I think about that every day. That's one of the things we have is way more legislatures that live below I-10, and certainly they have a stronger voice. I do the best I can to convince the people that I know that listen to me to do things. Sometimes yes and sometimes no, but it is a struggle.
You bet. Larry, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
22 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Sports is on the way right now. Ruben's here, traffic time.
Just received reports of a major accident on East Bergkun's Industrial Loop near Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound. And we have some heavy backed up traffic on the I-20 westbound starting at Spring and Market. It's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly, low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
One.
25 past 8 o'clock. Sports update. Here's Matt.
The Pelicans are rolling back into New Orleans, up 2-0 in their first-round playoff series against the Portland Trail Blazers. Pelicans Senior VP of Sales Mike Stanfield says the New Orleans Stars are putting on a clinic defensively, and the Trail Blazers can't do anything to slow down their offense. Tip-off for Game 3 is tonight at 8 p.m. The Pelicans could potentially clinch the series Saturday afternoon. Speaking of clinching series, the Mudbugs are looking for payback at a clean sweep tonight in Corpus Christi. Last year, the Bugs were swept in the first round by the Ice Rays. This year, they're looking to return the favor and are one win away from clinching. The puck drops at 7:11 tonight. There will be a watch party for the game at Buffalo Wild Wings in Shreveport. In NHL action, the Nashville Predators are one game closer to closing out their series against Colorado. The Preds beat the Avalanche 3-2. They'll look to close out that series Friday night in Colorado. In baseball action, the LSU Tigers tried to pull off another dramatic come-from-behind win, but they ultimately fell a little bit short, losing to Tulane 10-9. The Tigers hope to rebound this weekend when they take on the South Carolina Gamecocks in a 3-game series. And the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs continue to look strong after dominating the Lafayette Raging Cajuns 15-2. The win improves Tech's record to 26-13. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty here again for Twin City Appliance, online at twincityappliance.com. Twin City Appliance, a tradition, a heritage company. They've been, do you know how long Twin City Appliance has been serving the Arklatex with the finest in major appliance repair?
32 years.
Let me rephrase that. Almost half of my life.
That's incredible.
That's a long time, since 1982.
That means they know what they're doing and they do it right. Their techs are factory trained and they're authorized to service all major brands of appliances. Don't go out and spend thousands on new appliances when you can just give the ones you have a little nip and tuck.
Beg your pardon?
You can nip and tuck them.
A nip and tuck is perfectly put. It's Twin City Appliance, major appliance repair for the Arklatex and beyond. Call today. It's 318-688-0253.
Or check them out online, twincityappliance.com.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Okay, so as the Erin McCarty power base expands and the potential potential for abuse grows, not only, let's see, so you're on the A&E committee for the city.
Yes, I am.
Architectural and Engineering.
I am.
It's not a TV network.
No.
Let me see. You're on the Nick Getters and
Loving Solutions Board of Directors. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're meeting today.
And you are also, explain to me the
Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association. I'm on the board.
And you have a meeting tonight.
We have our big community-wide meeting, and you're welcome to come out. It's at Hayes Avenue Baptist Church on Hayes. It's in the Captain Shreve neighborhood, 6 o'clock tonight. Come out, meet the new board members. I'll be one of them. And there's lots of door prizes. I have a bunch of stuff I'm stolen. Bring it.
You haven't been on this board for a long time.
No. This is only my second meeting to attend.
This is not. I don't mean to imply that she is not to blame for all the problems.
No, I'm not.
So whatever they are, bring your vitriol, bring your hatred, and aim it all at her.
And you know what? These neighborhood associations are a good way to meet your neighbor, find out what's going on in your neighborhood. If there are issues, things that I didn't even know about, I'm learning about it, and I'm like, maybe I can help solve this. Because there are things that everybody brings to the table that you can help with.
So once again, Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association meeting this evening. Where again?
It's at Hayes Baptist Church on Hayes Avenue, 6 o'clock this evening.
829, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Local news next. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on a major accident on East Burt Coons Industrial Loop near Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound. And we have a minor accident on West 70th Street near Buncombe Road. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly, low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Your Keel cash code word is
plane. as in on the 70s TV series Fantasy Island, Hervé Villachez as Tattoo would say to Ricardo Montalban playing Mr. Rourke, boss, deplane.
Deplane!
Deplane. Find out if you're a $5,000 winner online, KEELnews.com.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Newlyweds recovering after a frightening airplane ride. Tyler and Alexis Albin of Shreveport were on their way back from their honeymoon when the unthinkable happened. The engine on their Southwest flight blew up, turning their dream into a nightmare. The couple says the woman who was partially sucked through a window that was ripped open sat just 2 rows behind them. Tyler, a student at LSU Health, jumped into action in an attempt to save the woman's life. Unfortunately, her injuries were just too great. The couple's back in Shreveport, attempting to recover from the frightening near-death experience. What do the crime numbers in Shreveport look like when we compare to this time last year? Well, according to stats released by SPD, crime is down 16% compared to the first 3 months of last year. The numbers show a 20% decline in violent crime and a 15% drop in property crimes. Chief Alan Crump says one of the biggest factors in the decrease is the approval of overtime funds. He says the funds allow the department to spend more time on the street and run several special operations. Another company wants a tax exemption. Matt Parker with that.
Calumet Refinery is asking the Caddo Parish Commission for an ITEP break. The company says the $450,000 break over 5 years would allow them to create 83 or more jobs. While the commission is considering the break, several groups are speaking out against the request. Members of Interfaith and other groups are urging the commission to deny the offer and say the money could be used to help Shreveport's struggling juvenile detention center. The commission is expected to vote on the matter later today. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
6 people recovering after a rollover crash on West 70th. According to police, the car drifted into the path of an SUV. When the driver of the SUV swerved in an attempt to avoid a crash, the vehicle flipped over. Police say 4 children, 2 adults were in the SUV at the time. All of them suffered some sort of injury, though they are expected to recover. Officials continue to search for a 4-year-old boy who's been missing since April 5th in rural North Louisiana. Claiborne Parish Sheriff Ken Bailey says officials found nothing after draining a pond this week looking for Junior Phillips. The boy went missing while playing outside his home in Lisbon. Divers had already searched that and other ponds. Authorities have also used drones, helicopters, cadaver dogs, and volunteer search teams to look for the child. The full House will consider a budget today that funds TOPS, but it includes deep cuts to higher ed and health care. The budget's come under fire from leading Democrats, including Governor John Bel Edwards, who says it's a budget that's so bad it shouldn't even be considered.
What we see in the House right now is a budget bill that is just catastrophic. But I remain convinced we're going to be able to get it done, but it should not be this hard or take this long.
The Democratic caucus calling on its members to vote against the budget, but GOP House Delegation Chairman Lance Harris says the budget has one success, and that it is fully funding TOPS.
Well, I think a lot of the members on the Appropriations Committee had heard from constituents and from students and families that had already planned. But
the governor's threatened to veto the budget if it passes. The State Education Board has approved a plan to include opioid abuse prevention in our public school curriculum. The new secretary for the Department of Education, Sidney Dunn, says the program will be tailored to younger audiences and is aimed at explaining the dangers of opioid abuse.
And training them how to talk to kids from elementary school grades on up through high school about opioid abuse and about preventative actions.
A British water company has fished out a pair of size 14 pants from its system. And there was no problems caused by the pants. No idea yet how the pants got in the system. They believe someone may have flushed it down the toilet. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Short segment here, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. A rather impressive guest list, a parade of lawmakers this morning.
Mhm.
Well, let me see. We had Senator Greg Tarver.
Yeah.
Then we had Representative Larry Bagley, and we had Sheriff Steve Prater in the middle of there.
Yeah, he's a little hot and bothered.
What's the what's the question? Because mine has been over and over again about the special session.
Mhm.
If nothing's changed, why have another special session?
Yeah, that's your imbecile question.
That was my is the governor insane question.
Yeah, that's it.
Your repeated question has been,
Why can't they just whack 10% off everybody's budget?
and I
I don't
think,
get it. That's what we do at home, right?
and I think that State Senator Greg Tarver gave you a very interesting insight into how government works.
That's the first, I think, real honest answer that any of them's given me.
And how incredibly territorial things are.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see legislators, and this is the irony of it all.
Sad.
When you see the budget come out of appropriations, when you see the different ideas, when you see it come out, we're going to cut services to people, we're going to cut services, we're going to cut hospitals, we're going to cut blah, blah, blah. And then you ask the question, why can't you cut 10%?
Mm-hmm.
And you ask Mr. Gregg that. Why can't each individual, why can't you say to each department head, you're going to cut 10%? And his response was, because the first thing they'll do is cut services.
They'd come back with the drastic ones.
They'll come
that
back
we can't tolerate
and hurt the people
Mhm.
rather than cut back on supplies or petroleum expenses.
The mashed potato fund.
Or cars or paper
Travel.
or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
That ain't where they're going to go.
Right for the jugular.
Their first instinct is to hurt you and
so
not,
you'll scream and holler.
and not themselves.
That's wrong.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty. Traffic update coming up right now. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at East 70th Street and Line Avenue still dealing with some slow-moving traffic. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Hang on a second. Let's play the lip reading game. I'm turning off my mic.
Oh, I got that.
843, it's 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. So the pilot on that Southwest airline, the pilot's name was, what was it again?
Oh, you shouldn't have asked me that.
You got the sound bite. You have the
Yeah.
recording, the flight, I guess the back and forth between the woman who was the pilot on the South, cool as a cucumber, no kidding.
Amazing. She really was. She was a fighter pilot in the Navy, and
Then why are you so I'm not going to say surprised, but you do seem surprised that she maintains such a sang-froid, coolness under pressure.
That's what I was just stunned by how calm she was.
Why were you stunned?
I expected to hear a little terror, a little panic, something that would, but there's none of that. It truly is amazing.
So you expected
her name is Tammy Jo Schultz.
You expected a professional, a woman who had flown fighter jets in the United States Navy, a woman whose world not that long ago operated at 2,500 miles an hour. You expected her not to be up to the job.
No, I expect it, but when you're in a panic situation, you at least can hear some of that in your voice. You don't hear any of that in this at all. Listen to this. This is amazing.
Delta 1388, just so I can understand, you said that you are still single engine, and what else?
Okay, Southwest 1380, we're single engine. That's it.
Be at least a 25-mile final. Longer than that, I'll have
3545, good day.
So 1380, you're on approach frequency 128.4. You're where you should be. Maintain 4,000. And do you need any further assistance with me? What type of final do you want? I heard short or long.
Yeah, we're going to need a long final.
Okay, I'm going to let you drive until you tell me you want to turn base, okay? So that'll be at least a 25-mile final. Longer than that, I'll have to do some coordination, but that'll be fine. We'll get that done for you. You let me know when you want to come in.
Okay, 20 is good. And we may need shorter here in a moment. Tell me the runway we're setting up for.
We're going to set up for
Say again.
Southwest 1380. You'll be landing 27 left today. And you just let me know when you need to turn base. Right now, I only have one person in front of you, which is a Southwest, but I'm sure he'll pull off if you need to go right in. Southwest 1380. 1380, I got a 1458 on frequency. I just cleared him for the approach. Southwest 1380. I understand your emergency. Let me know when you want to go in.
Yeah, we have a part of the aircraft missing, so we're going to need to slow down a bit.
Southwest 1380, speed is your discretion. Maintain at any altitude above 3,000 feet, and you let me know when you want to turn base.
All right. Down to 3,000. 210 on the speed.
Absolutely. You just let me know anything you need.
Southwest 1380, you'd like to start turning it down.
Southwest 1380, just start turning southbound there. There's a Southwest 737 on a 4-mile final. We'll be turning southbound. Start looking for the airport. It's off to your right and slightly behind you there. And altitude is your discretion. Use caution for the downtown area. Advise you maintain at about 2,200 for the MPA.
Okay, could you have the medical meet us there on the runway as well? We've got injured passengers.
Injured passengers, okay. And is your airplane physically on fire?
No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
I'm sorry, you said there was a hole and somebody went out? Southwest 1380, it doesn't matter. We'll work it out there. So the airport's just off to your right. Report it in sight, please.
In sight. Southwest 1380, airport's in sight.
Southwest 1380, you're cleared visual approach 27 right. Contact the tower on 118.5. Southwest 13, I'm sorry, clear visual approach 27 left. 27 left and towers on 18.5.
We're going on 27 left. Switching tower, good day.
Southwest 1380, right turn when you're able. You want to stop wherever you need to is fine.
Thank you. We're going to stop right here by the fire truck. Thanks, guys, for the help.
Thank you, guys, for the help. We're going to stop right here by the fire truck.
We got a hole and someone went out.
You hear the calmness in her voice?
Remember,
it gives me goosebumps.
Remember, her world, she lives in a world where things happen at 2,500 miles an hour.
Yeah.
She's a former Navy fighter pilot, okay? She's got and you have to remember, as weird as it sounds, the plane was never out of control. Yeah. She lost an engine. Part of it fell off. What was going on back there was as tragic as what was going on 50 feet behind her was not her focus.
She's being praised all around the globe, and she says, quote, "We all feel we were simply doing our jobs."
849, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Your money now is just a couple of seconds away. Fletcher is away today. Matt has sports. That's coming up, too, here on KEEL.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic at the intersection of Kings Highway and Gilbert Drive due to construction. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and not as warm today. Still a nice day with a high of 70. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Low 43 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Our KEEL Poll of the Week. Find it online at KEELnews.com. KEELnews.com.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
In a new Gallup poll, people were asked, what's the biggest problem facing America today? 23% of responders said the biggest problem is government.
That's because government cannot fix all things for us. Government cannot make us feel content or feel respected or accepted. It can't confer achievement upon us. It can't build our self-esteem or eliminate life's inevitable ups and downs.
As President Ronald Reagan said, government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Abalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
8:55. It's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. An interesting day, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
I would still have to say. And all of the interviews that we had this morning with Representative Bagley and Senator Tarver and Sheriff Prater, just a bunch of pawns.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of, feel like a pawn. And is he wrong?
No, he's not wrong. He said they need to cut all that fluff down there. I'm with the sheriff.
Fluff ball program.
Yes.
You asked the sheriff what he thought about the drive from the governor's chair to enhance revenue, and he said they need to cut all those fluff ball programs first.
Mm-hmm. If you missed the sheriff's interview, it's going to be posted at keelnews.com momentarily.
Probably within the hour.
You bet.
At keelnews.com. Don't forget, I want to say Caddo Parish, Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association meeting tonight. I mentioned that because Erin's on the board as the power base expands.
Yeah, whatever. 6 o'clock tonight, Hayes Avenue Baptist Church. Come out and join us. You'll get to lots of door prizes, a lot of fun.
Door prizes like what?
I got some Happy Bellies. We've got a lot of businesses in the Captain Shreve neighborhood have donated stuff.
Basically it. You are basically the good time.
No. There's a lot. I just don't have the list in front of me, but there's lots of cool door prizes.
No, what I'm saying is
flowers and all kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
So I should basically move to the Captain Shreve neighborhood for my palatial and spacious Southeast Shreveport mansion.
I encourage everyone to do just that.
8:56, back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim Commando.
We don't know what happened to the IRS tax filing website this past Tuesday because they're not saying much about it, other than the system wasn't hacked. But here's an incredible fact we do know. The underlying computers at the IRS are running on software written in the 1960s. Kim Commando with your Thursday Consumer Tech Update. Of course, IRS updates its system so that clerks and agents can use it. It gives them the illusion that they're on Windows computers. But the actual computer code was written over 50 years ago in what programmers called assembler language. Schools don't train in this antiquated language any longer, and the few remaining employees who actually understand the system are retiring every day. It's the oldest operating system still used by the government. So with all the antique equipment and older software that the Internal Revenue Service employees are forced to deal with each day, it's truly a miracle that meltdown events like this past Tuesday don't happen more often. I'm Kim Commando. If you have a favorite car or truck that you've driven for years, one you just want to keep going, let me introduce you to a new product called Tribotex. We've all heard claims of miracle auto products that boost mileage, make your engine run better, and last longer. For lots of reasons, they never live up to the hype. But now, there's Tribotex, a breakthrough reverse wear product made with something called anisotropic nanoparticles. Tribotex nanoparticles bond to your engine surfaces. They increase compression, engine noise is reduced, horsepower increases, and fuel economy rises in engines with more than 130,000 miles. Tribotex nanoparticles literally repair engine wear in as little as 15 minutes after application. It was developed by U.S. academia and supported by our federal government. You don't need a mechanic because it's easier than adding a quart of oil. Tribotex works in most types of engines. Tribotex.com. Tribotex.com.
Keel's Top Cop. It's our salute to area law enforcement officers who go above and beyond the call of duty. We want you to send us stories of officers who deserve an extra pat on the back. Maybe an officer changed your tire or spent extra time talking to your youngster. We even want to know about officers who do good deeds while off duty. Let us share these great stories, but we need to know about them. If you want to say thanks to a police officer, deputy, or state trooper, log on to keelnews.com and click on the Top Cop link. Download the Keel app on your phone and click on Submit Photo or Video. Then tell us your story. We say thanks with Keel's Top Cop, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
8:59, here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Nice again today, not as warm, mostly sunny. High later today of about 75. Right now, 56 at Keel, 9 o'clock.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.